Alex Carter stood on the bridge of the Human Council ship, looking out at the massive station that floated in the center of the galactic hub. The station was huge, shining with thousands of lights, each representing a different alien species. Humans had spent decades negotiating with these aliens, teaching, trading, and helping keep peace in the galaxy. Now, Alex felt a deep weight in his chest. Today, humanity was about to do something no one expected. The doors to the council chamber opened with a low hum. Alien diplomats from all corners of the galaxy were already gathered, their shapes and colors strange and beautiful. Some were tall and thin, others short with many arms or eyes. They spoke in low tones, laughing and whispering, confident that humanity would follow the council's rules as always. Humans were always polite, always careful, always obeying. Alex walked in calmly, his uniform simple, the badge of Earth shining on his chest. He could hear alien voices murmur. "The humans are here. I wonder what they will say this time," one whispered. "They will not dare challenge us," another replied. The head of the council, a large creature named Thorin, rose from his platform. Thorin's voice echoed through the chamber, deep and commanding. "Humans, welcome. As always, we expect your full cooperation in today's matters." Alex bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. He knew the aliens expected it. "Thank you, Thorin," he said softly. Then he straightened and looked at the crowd. His voice carried, calm but firm. "After much discussion and consideration, Earth will be leaving the Galactic Council." A shocked silence fell. The aliens froze in place. Some opened their mouths to speak, but no words came. Laughter started low at first, then louder. Some aliens could not believe what they had heard. Humans leaving? Impossible. "Leaving? Humans, this is absurd," Thorin said finally, his voice rising. "You cannot leave. The Council provides guidance. The Council protects you." "Why would you abandon us?" Alex held his calm. "We leave because the Council has grown too slow, too proud, and too blind. We tried to warn you. We tried to help, but you ignore what is important. Earth cannot continue to follow orders that harm others or that ignore reason." The laughter died down. A few alien leaders looked uneasy, but most still believed humans were weak and would return after threats or fines. They had no idea how deeply humans had influenced the galaxy. Alex continued, "Humanity has always believed in balance. We protect, we trade, and we mediate. Without us, you will see the truth of your decisions. We leave to protect our people and to let the galaxy face the consequences of ignoring reason." Some aliens whispered to each other. "This is a bluff," one said. "They will come back." Humans are too small to survive alone. Alex's second-in-command, Rachel Stone, placed a hand on his shoulder. "They will learn soon enough," she said quietly. She had worked with Alex for years and trusted his judgment. Humans were not the strongest by muscle or weapon, but they were clever, patient, and always prepared. The council began voting immediately after Alex left the podium. The votes were clear. The council would try to take over human trade routes and stations. They would try to force humanity to obey. Alien diplomats spoke of sending fleets to block human ships. Many believed it would be simple, but they did not understand the humans at all. Alex returned to the bridge of the human ship. He looked at the stars, each one a potential danger, each one a world humans had once helped. He knew the galaxy would suffer, and he knew humans could survive alone. The ship's AI whispered updates about fleet movements and council actions. Alex did not need to order anything yet. Patience was part of their plan. Humans never acted without reason. On Earth, millions watched the broadcast of Alex's announcement. Families, scientists, traders, and soldiers all listened in silence. They knew this was the beginning of a new chapter. Humans would leave the council, but they would not leave the galaxy defenseless. They would protect what needed protection, but they would not bow to arrogance or bureaucracy. The first few weeks after leaving were quiet. Humans withdrew slowly from council space, deactivating only what was needed to avoid conflict. Council fleets watched carefully, thinking humans were weak. They did not realize humans had already prepared hidden defenses, secret supply chains, and safe passages. Earth had studied the galaxy for decades and had built plans for every scenario. Humans were never careless. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, alien leaders began to panic. Trading systems collapsed without human oversight. Communication networks became unstable. A council analyst named Lisa Brown noticed patterns forming. She pointed at her screens, showing several systems going dark. "Look at this," she said. All the sectors failing are ones humans maintained. Without them, everything begins to break, her colleagues argued. Some refused to believe it. Humans cannot have that much influence, one said. They are small, they are simple. Lisa shook her head. You do not understand. Humans built the infrastructure that keeps peace and trade stable. They did it quietly. We never noticed until now. In the shadows, former council officers like Emma White reached out to humans secretly. She had always admired their discipline and patience. She knew the council would collapse if humans were not careful. She sent encrypted messages, warning of potential conflicts, while humans quietly offered limited assistance to prevent total disaster. Humans did not interfere directly. They did not send fleets to attack or punish. They simply let the council face the results of their own mistakes while offering subtle guidance to those in danger. Alex knew that direct interference would make humans seem aggressive, and humans did not fight for pride. They fought for survival and reason. On one border system, a group of traders watched as pirate attacks increased. Without human patrols, old criminals returned to the space lanes. A young trader named Max Carson barely escaped an ambush. He contacted human allies, who quietly guided him to safety through hidden routes. He marveled at the humans' skill, realizing how much they had relied on them before. Weeks turned into months. Council fleets began fighting each other over resources and trade routes. Systems without humans collapsed entirely. Food shortages appeared on neutral worlds. Alien populations began to argue and fight over remaining supplies. The galaxy that had once seemed stable was now shaking, and no one knew why. Alex Carter observed everything from the command deck. He felt a mixture of sadness and resolve. Humans could survive alone, but the Council would not. Millions of lives were at risk because the Council ignored the warnings humans had given for years. Alex felt the weight of responsibility. Humans had chosen their path. Now the galaxy would face the truth. Back on Earth, the people celebrated quietly. They knew leaving the Council was dangerous, but they had confidence in their leaders. Humans had always faced danger before, and now they would do it again, not with pride, but with care, intelligence, and patience. As the first year ended, Council analysts began to see the full scale of the problem. Systems collapsed faster than expected. Fleets were stranded. Communication lines went dark. The galaxy was beginning to fall apart, just as humans had predicted. Alien leaders started to panic and send messages asking for help, but humans responded only in measured ways, protecting life but never compromising their independence. Alex spoke to his crew one evening under the light of distant stars. "We are not leaving to punish anyone," he said. "We leave because we must. If the Council cannot see reason, if they cannot act with fairness, then the galaxy will learn the cost. Humans will survive and we will protect what is right, but we will not bow to arrogance." The crew nodded. They had trained for this moment. They understood the patience, the planning, and the responsibility required. They were ready. Humans had left the Galactic Council, and the galaxy had not noticed yet, but the first cracks were appearing. In hidden corners of the galaxy, small worlds began to depend quietly on human guidance. Refugees found safe passage, energy grids were stabilized, and trade routes were secretly protected. Humans acted like ghosts, unseen but powerful, careful but unstoppable. They did not seek glory or recognition. They only sought balance. The Galactic Council continued to argue, laugh, and threaten. They did not understand that humans had already changed the game. The galaxy's fate was now uncertain, and only humans had the knowledge and skill to stabilize it. Alex Carter stood at the window of his command deck, looking at a bright blue star. He remembered the years of negotiation, diplomacy, and quiet effort. Humans had always been small in size, but their influence was immense. They had built the galaxy's backbone without anyone noticing. Now the Council would see the cost of their arrogance. Humans left quietly, prepared for what came next. The galaxy did not know it yet, but the universe had already begun to feel the consequences. Chaos was spreading, systems were collapsing, and alien leaders were panicking. Humans had walked away, and the first part of the great change had begun. Alex knew this was only the start. Patience, intelligence, and planning would guide humans through the chaos. The Council had mocked them, laughed at their size, and ignored their warnings. Soon, the universe would understand that humans were not small, and humans were not weak. Humans were the ones who kept balance, and without them, nothing would stand. And with that thought, Alex turned to his crew and said, "Prepare for what comes next. The galaxy will fall apart, but we will survive." Weeks passed since humanity left the Galactic Council, and the first signs of collapse grew stronger. Trade routes that once glowed with constant activity became dark and silent. Freighters that relied on human navigation systems got lost in empty space or drifted into pirate ambushes. Human patrols had always kept peace on the busiest lanes, but now, without them, chaos spread like a shadow. In a distant sector, a young alien trader named Nira felt the changes first. She had always relied on human guidance for her shipments. One day, her cargo ship jumped into a system only to find the jump gate offline. Panic surged through her crew. "We are trapped," she said. Her voice trembled, and for the first time, fear replaced her usual confidence. She sent an emergency signal, hoping humans would respond. Minutes later, a message came from a hidden human vessel, giving them instructions to escape safely through a secret route. Nira did not understand how humans had prepared for this without anyone noticing, but she followed the instructions and reached safety. Back at the Galactic Council, the alien leaders were panicking. What had seemed like small disruptions now spread like fire. One system after another lost power, communication networks failed, and trade collapsed. Fleets scrambled to maintain order, but without human coordination, they only made mistakes. Arguments turned into threats, and threats turned into open conflict. Council analysts tried to understand what was happening. Lisa Brown, one of the few who had studied human systems closely, pointed at her holographic maps. "Look at the patterns," she said urgently. "Every failing system had a human hand in it. They kept things stable quietly without recognition. We ignored their importance, and now we see the result." Her colleagues shook their heads, unwilling to believe humans had such influence. Inside Earth's command center, Alex Carter studied reports of growing chaos. Humans had planned for this, but even the most careful strategies could not stop every disaster. He spoke to his officers calmly. "The galaxy is learning the cost of its arrogance. We protect what we must, but we cannot fix everything. Let them face the consequences of ignoring reason." Ben Harris, a human logistics officer, looked at Alex. "People will suffer," he said. "Millions are at risk." Alex nodded. "Yes, but suffering alone teaches lessons faster than endless talk. Humans can survive, and we will guide those in true danger, but we will not bend to pride or force." In several sectors, human ships quietly stabilized critical points. Small colonies that once depended on the Council found secret human routes and protection. Refugees escaped wars and starvation, guided by human intelligence and secret supply drops. Humans did not announce themselves. They moved silently like ghosts, saving lives but avoiding glory. Pirates took advantage of the chaos. Large gangs that had disappeared years ago returned, attacking freighters, raiding stations, and cutting communication lines. Council fleets tried to fight them, but coordination failed without human tactics. A council general named Lorak shouted orders to his fleet, but confusion spread. Many ships collided or went off course while pirates struck swiftly and disappeared. On a neutral planet, Emma White, a former council officer, contacted humans secretly. "You warned us," she said. "We should have listened. The council cannot fix this. Without you, everything falls apart." She sent detailed reports of failing sectors, hoping humans would help, but she knew they would do so carefully, protecting life without regaining control over the council. Humans always worked with wisdom, not pride. Alex and his crew monitored the galaxy closely. They saw systems collapse, fleets clash, and refugees scatter. It was a slow, painful process, but humans acted with restraint. They did not attack the council or alien civilizations. They did not claim territories or wealth. They only helped where lives were at risk. In this way, humans remained powerful not by force but by reason. On one distant moon, a council supply station was cut off from communication. Food stores ran low, and the small alien population faced starvation. A human ship appeared silently in orbit, guiding the inhabitants to safety. The aliens watched in awe as humans used knowledge and strategy to solve problems they could not. The humans did not stay. They left quietly once their work was done. Inside the council chambers, arguments grew louder. Alien leaders blamed each other for failures, ignoring the fact that human absence caused most problems. Threats escalated into attacks. Council fleets fired at each other, destroying important infrastructure. It became clear that the Council had underestimated human influence and overestimated their own power. In the midst of chaos, young human cadets trained for emergency missions. They learned to move quickly, respond to disasters, and save lives. Earth prepared for long-term isolation. The Council could not predict their moves because humans always prepared, always thought ahead, and always acted with balance. Patience and intelligence were their weapons, not sheer size or firepower. In one star system, an energy grid that had once supported thousands of colonies overloaded and exploded. The Council fleets tried to contain the damage, but panic spread. A human engineer, Lisa Carter, guided emergency crews remotely from Earth's hidden command stations. She instructed them on safety procedures, evacuation routes, and energy redistribution. By the time Council officers realized the situation, many lives had already been saved thanks to humans' quiet guidance. News of these events began to reach far corners of the galaxy. Some aliens realized their mistake in underestimating humans. Whispers spread of humanity's careful planning, patience, and invisible influence. Humans had always seemed ordinary, weak, or small, but now the truth became clear. Humans were clever, prepared, and patient. They acted for life and reason, not glory or pride. In a war-torn system, refugees crowded the streets, hungry and scared. A human convoy appeared, bringing food, medicine, and information. Children stared in awe at humans, who spoke softly and guided everyone to safety. Humans did not fight unless necessary. They used knowledge and skill to prevent bloodshed. Many aliens began to wonder why humans had ever obeyed the Council so quietly for so long. Alex Carter observed all of this from his ship. He felt no satisfaction in the chaos, only sadness. The Council ignored warnings for decades. Now they suffered the consequences. Humans could survive, but millions of others suffered because the Council refused to see reason. Alex reflected on the irony. Humans were always underestimated, mocked, and dismissed, yet they quietly held the galaxy together. Now that humans had stepped back, the cracks were obvious. As months turned into nearly a year, the galaxy's collapse became harder to ignore. Pirates controlled entire sectors, Council fleets fought among themselves, and trade networks were destroyed. Humans continued their quiet work, helping where it mattered but never intervening politically. Their patience, intelligence, and planning allowed them to save lives without being seen as rulers. In a small, human-controlled outpost, Alex spoke to his crew. "We must continue to act carefully," he said. "We save lives, protect refugees, and guide where we are needed. But we do not intervene to control. Humans survive because we act with balance. We act with reason. The galaxy suffers because it lacks these things." The crew nodded. They understood the lesson. Humans were not strong because of weapons or size. They were strong because they thought, planned, and acted with patience. The Council and most alien species never understood that. A young officer, Daniel Cole, asked, "Do you think the Council will ever change?" Alex shook his head. "Some may eventually, but many will not. We leave them to learn their lessons. Our job is to protect life, not to force change. Patience will teach more than anger ever could." In distant sectors, the first signs of alien cooperation began to appear, but only where humans had quietly guided them. Small alliances formed around fairness, logic, and survival, not around pride or greed. These alliances were small but stable, and humans observed quietly, ready to support but never dominate. As the second year approached, chaos spread further. Entire systems lost power, fleets were stranded, and alien leaders became desperate. Humans were no longer present in Council meetings, but their influence was felt everywhere. Communication networks that humans had built secretly began to function for those who truly needed help. Humans worked like shadows, saving lives, stabilizing critical systems, and letting the Council face the consequences of its arrogance. Alex looked at the reports, seeing the galaxy fall apart in ways no one else could predict. He felt a deep sense of responsibility but also hope. Humans were small in size, but their actions mattered. They had prepared for this moment for decades. And now, when the galaxy faced chaos, humans acted with intelligence, care, and balance. Pirates, warlords, and Council fleets did not understand humans. They underestimated them for the last time. Humans were not trying to dominate, attack, or conquer. They were trying to survive, protect life, and let the universe face the truth. In this way, humans were the most powerful force, not through firepower, but through wisdom and foresight. As the second part of the year ended, humans had saved millions quietly. They did not celebrate, they did not boast. They only observed the galaxy, prepared for what was next, and ensured that life could continue despite the Council's collapse. Alex Carter stood on the observation deck of his command ship, looking at distant stars. The galaxy was breaking, but humans were ready. The Council had ignored them for decades. Now the galaxy would feel the consequences. Humans had left, and the cracks would continue to spread, teaching alien species a hard lesson about patience, planning, and the quiet power of humanity. And as he turned to his crew, Alex said, "We act not to punish, but to protect. We act not for pride, but for reason. The universe will learn that humans are small only in size, but large in responsibility." Humans had left the Council, the galaxy was falling apart, and the true test of survival had begun. Patience, intelligence, and planning would guide humanity through the chaos, showing that even when ignored and underestimated, humans could hold the balance of life in their hands. The galaxy continued to fall apart. Entire star systems went dark, and fleets that had once patrolled safely now drifted, lost and confused. Trade collapsed in most regions, and many colonies began to face shortages of food, medicine, and energy. Humans observed quietly from the edges of the chaos, acting only where lives were at risk. They moved like shadows, stabilizing what they could, but always avoiding direct confrontation with the Galactic Council or alien empires. Alex Carter watched reports from multiple systems on the bridge of his command ship. He saw a Council fleet trapped between two warring alien factions. Both sides fired blindly, destroying communication arrays and energy hubs. He shook his head. If humans were not here quietly guiding the systems, millions would already be dead, he said to his second-in-command, Rachel Stone. Rachel studied the holographic maps. "They think humans left because we are weak," she said. "They have no idea how much we held together. Without us, everything collapses fast." In a remote sector, a small human fleet quietly repaired a broken jump gate. Without it, an entire system could have been cut off for months. Humans worked quickly and efficiently. Engineers like Lisa Carter and Daniel Cole guided alien technicians remotely, explaining step by step how to restore energy flows. No one outside the immediate area noticed their intervention. They did not seek glory, they sought only stability. Pirates became bolder. They attacked undefended colonies, raided supply lines, and sometimes clashed with desperate Council forces. A young pirate leader named Corin did not understand why humans never confronted them directly. He assumed humans had fled entirely. Yet he kept losing fleets without ever seeing a human ship in combat. Humans had prepared defenses, hidden traps, and escape routes. Their power was invisible but deadly effective. Inside the Council, panic had reached a fever pitch. Alien leaders argued over lost systems and failed fleets. Threats became real attacks, and many Council officers refused to follow orders due to fear and confusion. Lisa Brown continued to warn them, pointing out the human patterns that were failing because humans were gone. "Look at the systems," she said urgently. "Humans were the backbone. We ignored their influence for decades, and now we see the result." Her warnings fell on deaf ears. Pride and arrogance prevented the Council from understanding the truth. On a neutral planet, refugees gathered in desperate need of help. Children cried, elders grew weak from hunger, and fear spread. A human convoy arrived silently, bringing food, medicine, and clear instructions for evacuation. Humans organized groups carefully, moving civilians to safe zones while avoiding conflict with warring factions. The aliens watched, confused and awed. Humans were small and weak compared to the Council's fleets, yet they saved lives in ways that no one else could. Alex received a report from a fleet under his command. "A Council supply convoy is trapped near a failing energy station," said Daniel Cole. "Without help, millions could die." Alex nodded. "Prepare a rescue," he said, "but be careful, avoid detection by Council forces. We are not here to fight, only to save lives." The human fleet moved quickly. Engineers transmitted instructions to alien crews, guiding them step by step. The trapped convoy was slowly freed from danger. Humans did not fire a single shot. They only used knowledge, strategy, and patience. When the rescue was complete, the human fleet vanished before the Council could detect them. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, multiple conflicts erupted. Council fleets accidentally attacked neutral colonies while chasing pirates. Energy systems overheated and exploded. Communications collapsed. Alien leaders began sending desperate messages for help, but only those who understood humans' methods could ask for assistance effectively. Humans chose their moments carefully. They saved life where it mattered, but never intervened politically. Their goal was always survival and reason, never control or revenge. Alex studied another report. A massive energy grid on a frontier world was failing. If it collapsed, millions would die. He called his team together. "We cannot allow this to happen," he said. "Prepare the engineering teams. We will stabilize the system remotely and on-site. Work fast, work quietly, and protect life." The engineers moved with practiced skill. Lisa Carter guided the alien technicians, explaining the steps needed to redistribute energy flows and prevent a meltdown. Backup systems that humans had secretly installed decades ago activated, and within hours, the grid was stable. The colonists had no idea who had saved them. Humans never sought recognition. Their power was invisible but undeniable. Pirates tried to raid the system again, unaware of the hidden defenses humans had set up. They were quickly trapped and captured, not by combat but by strategy. Humans had planned escape routes for the colonists and traps for attackers. By the time the Council fleets arrived, the pirates were already neutralized. Council officers were shocked, unable to explain what had happened. Humans had acted silently, efficiently, and without confrontation. In another sector, a group of Council fleets collided due to miscommunication. Ships fired on each other by mistake, destroying entire bases. Humans intervened quietly, guiding isolated crews and helping repair energy lines. The Council officers could only guess what had happened. Some began to understand the humans' hidden influence, but pride prevented them from asking directly for help. Alex Carter spoke to his crew on the observation deck. "The Council will continue to fail because it refuses to see reason," he said. "Humans can survive because we plan, we act, and we protect. We are small, but our influence is large." "The galaxy is learning the cost of arrogance," Rachel Stone added. "Millions are alive because of humans, yet the Council does not know it. They think we are gone. They think they are winning." Alex nodded. "Let them learn slowly. This is how they understand the value of patience, planning, and intelligence. Humans never fight for pride. We fight for life." Refugees continued to move across war-torn systems. Humans guided convoys of ships, ensuring safety and order. Communication networks that humans had built long ago allowed them to coordinate quietly, keeping information flowing even when Council systems collapsed. They did not seek recognition. Their reward was survival and the preservation of life. In the Council chambers, arguments grew louder. Alien leaders blamed one another for the failures, refusing to see the truth. Humans had left, and without their careful balance, the Council's systems crumbled. Fleets collided, energy grids overloaded, and starvation spread. Lisa Brown tried to explain. "Humans held everything together. Without them, the galaxy is breaking." Few listened. Pride and fear clouded their judgment. On one distant planet, a small human team guided colonists to safety after a series of pirate attacks. The team moved swiftly, organizing transport, energy supplies, and communication. The colonists stared in awe at the humans, who seemed small but capable of solving impossible problems. Children asked why humans did not fight. Alex's lieutenant replied, "We fight only when necessary. We solve problems with knowledge and care. That is how humans survive." As months passed, the galaxy's collapse accelerated. Entire sectors lost power. Council fleets attacked each other by mistake. Trade stopped entirely in many regions. The Council tried to blame humans, thinking they had left out of fear. But humans were not afraid. Humans acted with intelligence, foresight, and patience. They did not need to dominate, only to protect life where necessary. Alex observed the chaos, feeling a mixture of sadness and resolve. Humans had warned the Council for decades, but their advice was ignored. Now the galaxy suffered. Humans could not fix every problem, but they could save life where it mattered. That was enough. Humans did not seek glory. They sought only balance. In one critical system, a failing jump gate threatened to strand thousands of ships. Human engineers activated hidden systems and guided ships safely. Pirates attempted to attack, unaware of traps humans had set. The attack failed without a single human firing a shot. Strategy, foresight, and careful planning won the day. Human influence spread quietly across sectors. Small alliances began to form around principles of fairness, logic, and survival, often guided indirectly by humans. These alliances were weak but stable. Humans observed and provided subtle guidance, never taking control. Their power was invisible but undeniable. Alex spoke to his crew, looking at a star-filled sky. Humans survive because we plan, we act, and we protect. We are small, but we are powerful. The Council will continue to fail because it cannot see reason. Patience, intelligence, and careful action are our strength. This is how humanity survives. As the third part of the year ended, the galaxy was in chaos, but humans continued their quiet work. Lives were saved, colonies stabilized, and systems repaired without recognition. The Council remained blind to the true reason for survival. Humans acted not for glory, not for revenge, but for life. The lessons of patience, planning, and quiet strength spread slowly across the galaxy. Pirates were trapped, refugees protected, and failing systems stabilized. Humans were small in size, but large in impact. The Council's arrogance had blinded them to the truth, and now they faced consequences they could not control. Alex watched the reports silently, feeling the weight of responsibility. Humans had left the Council, and the galaxy was falling apart. Patience and careful planning were the only tools that would guide them through the chaos. Humans would survive. The universe would learn, slowly and painfully, that even when underestimated, humans were the ones who could hold the balance of life. And as he turned to his crew, Alex said quietly, "We do not act for pride, we act for reason. We do not act for glory, we act to protect life. The galaxy will remember one day the true strength of humanity." Humans continued their quiet work, guiding life through chaos, stabilizing systems, and showing that intelligence, patience, and careful planning were the most powerful weapons in the universe. The galaxy was falling apart, but humanity endured, unseen but essential, proving that size does not determine power, and care does not diminish strength. The galaxy had become a chaotic place. Systems that once thrived were now dark and empty. Council fleets had turned against each other, destroying what little order remained. Pirate gangs roamed freely, taking everything they could find. Food shortages spread across multiple planets, and energy grids collapsed without human guidance. Alien leaders panicked, sending frantic messages, blaming each other, and scrambling to survive. Alex Carter watched all of this from the command bridge of the human flagship. He saw fleets trapped in dangerous space, colonies at risk, and innocent civilians caught in the middle. Humans could intervene, but they did not act aggressively. Their mission was always to protect life, not to fight for control. Patience, planning, and quiet influence were their weapons. Humans were small in size, but their impact was immense. Rachel Stone approached Alex with a new report. "We have 10 systems on the brink of total collapse," she said. "Millions could die if we do not act quickly." Alex nodded. "Prepare our teams. We will stabilize where we can, but we do not control the Council. We only protect life. Remember, every action must be precise and careful." In one of the hardest-hit sectors, a human team arrived at a starving colony. The aliens there had never seen humans before. They expected weapons and dominance, but instead humans brought food, medicine, and guidance. Engineers like Lisa Carter and Daniel Cole worked quickly, restoring energy grids and communication systems. The colonists marveled at their skill. "How can you save us without fighting?" one elder asked. Alex smiled. "We do not need to fight. Knowledge and planning are stronger than any weapon." Pirates attacked the colony during the repairs. They expected an easy victory, but humans had prepared hidden defenses and escape routes. The pirates were trapped without a single human ship firing a shot. Strategy, intelligence, and foresight won again. The Council fleets arrived too late, confused and angry, unable to understand what had happened. Humans had acted quietly, efficiently, and without recognition. In another system, a Council fleet collided with an alien empire's ships. Panic spread, and many officers refused to give orders. Human engineers guided isolated crews remotely, stabilizing energy flows and repairing critical systems. Millions of lives were saved, but the Council had no idea why their fleets stopped losing ships. Humans had acted silently, protecting life while allowing the Council to face its mistakes. Alex Carter reviewed reports from multiple systems. Collapse was widespread, but human interventions had prevented total disaster. Refugees were safely relocated, energy grids were stabilized, and pirates had been trapped or redirected. Humans did not boast, and they did not seek power. Their influence was invisible but undeniable. On a remote planet, a young human officer named Max Taylor coordinated a convoy of ships carrying refugees. He guided them through dangerous territory, avoiding pirate attacks and failing jump gates. Colonists watched in awe, amazed that humans could save them without firing a single weapon. "Humans are small," one child whispered, "but they are stronger than anyone we know." Inside the council chambers, panic reached a new level. Leaders shouted at each other, blaming failures on rival empires or council officers. Fleets were lost, colonies abandoned, and trade completely destroyed in some sectors. Lisa Brown tried to explain the truth. "Humans held the galaxy together for decades," she said. "Their absence is why we are collapsing." Pride and arrogance prevented most from listening. They could not admit that they had depended on humans without realizing it. Human ships moved quietly across the galaxy, stabilizing critical systems. Alex gave careful instructions. "We do not intervene to take control. We do not punish. We only protect life. Remember this in every action we take. Patience, intelligence, and careful planning are our strength." Ben Harris and other officers worked tirelessly to maintain communications with scattered colonies and fleets. They coordinated energy supplies, food shipments, and medical care. Humans never acted in force, yet they prevented millions of deaths. Their power was invisible but real, guiding the galaxy slowly back from the edge. Pirate gangs tried to take advantage of human operations, but humans always planned for contingencies. Hidden traps, diversion routes, and secure safe zones made attacks fail without direct conflict. The pirates began to whisper about humans' unseen strength, realizing that even when underestimated, humans could not be beaten by size or firepower alone. Alex looked at the latest report from a sector where multiple fleets were trapped. He instructed Rachel Stone, "Guide the crews carefully. Use the hidden channels and backup systems we installed decades ago. Every life matters. This is why humans endure." As months passed, the Council's influence weakened. Alien leaders began forming small alliances around human principles of fairness, balance, and careful planning. These alliances were smaller than the Council, but they were stable and functional. Humans observed quietly, providing subtle guidance but never interfering politically. Their goal was always to protect life and maintain order, not to dominate. On one frontier planet, a human convoy arrived to help rebuild a shattered energy grid. Colonists had lost hope. Pirates had taken most of their supplies. Council fleets had abandoned them. Humans worked efficiently, restoring energy, water, and food systems. Children laughed again and elders smiled. Humans had not come to rule or punish. They had come to protect life. Alex spoke to his crew privately. "Look at what humans have done," he said. "We left the Council, and yet we have saved millions. The galaxy is learning the cost of arrogance, the importance of planning, and the value of patience. Humans are small, but our influence is large." That is the truth the Council never understood. Rachel Stone added, "Even the aliens are starting to see it. They respect us now, though many will not admit it." Alex nodded. "Let them learn slowly. Pride prevents understanding. Patience teaches lessons better than anger ever could." As the year progressed, humans continued their work across multiple systems. Failing jump gates were repaired, pirate attacks neutralized, energy grids stabilized, and refugee convoys safely relocated. Humans never took control of colonies or fleets. They guided, protected, and saved lives. Their influence was quiet but undeniable. In a collapsing system, a young officer named Daniel Cole coordinated a rescue mission. A council fleet had been stranded near a collapsing star. Human engineers used knowledge and careful timing to stabilize critical systems, allowing ships to escape safely. Not a single human fired a shot. Strategy and patience won the day. Alex observed the final reports of the year. The Galactic Council had lost much of its power. Alien empires and neutral systems had suffered, but human interventions had saved countless lives. The Council was fractured, weakened by pride and ignorance. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. On Earth, people watched as reports of human interventions reached them. They knew their leaders acted wisely, with patience and care. Humans had left the council, but they had not abandoned the galaxy. Their actions had preserved life, stability, and balance where it mattered most. Pirates whispered stories of humans they never saw. Fleets feared invisible traps and hidden strategies. Colonies marveled at the silent help humans provided. Even the most arrogant alien leaders began to understand that size, strength, and weapons were not the only measure of power. Humans had proven that intelligence, planning, and patience could accomplish far more. Alex Carter stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. He reflected on the past years. Humans had left the council, faced a chaotic galaxy, and survived while saving millions of lives. The council had mocked them, laughed at their size, and ignored their warnings. Now the universe understood humans were not weak and humans were not small in influence. Rachel Stone approached him. "Do you think the council will ever recover?" she asked. Alex shook his head. "Some may eventually, many will not. That is their lesson." Humans survive not by fighting for power, but by protecting life and acting with reason. Humans continued to guide the galaxy quietly. Systems that might have collapsed entirely were now stabilized. Refugees found safe passage, and energy grids worked again. Pirate attacks became less effective. Small alliances formed around principles humans valued: fairness, balance, and reason. Humans had left the council, yet their influence shaped the galaxy more than ever. Alex spoke to his crew one final time as the year ended. "We did not act for pride or glory," he said. "We acted for reason, for life, and for balance. Humans are small in size, but large in responsibility. The council ignored us for decades, but now the galaxy has seen the truth. Our patience, intelligence, and planning are stronger than weapons. This is why humanity endures." And so, the galaxy began to heal in ways invisible but real. The council's power was diminished, but life survived because humans had acted quietly, carefully, and wisely. Pirates learned caution, colonies learned hope, refugees learned safety. The galaxy had faced chaos, but humanity had endured. Alex looked out at the stars, feeling both sadness and pride. The galaxy was far from perfect, but humans had proven a truth no one could ignore. Size does not determine power, strength does not come from weapons alone, and intelligence, planning, and care can shape the universe. Humans had left the council, and in doing so they had shown the galaxy the true power of their kind. Small in size, underestimated by many, but capable of guiding the fate of billions. The council would never forget the lesson, and the universe would slowly learn that humans were the ones who quietly held balance, reason, and life itself. Alex turned to his crew and quietly said, "This is why we endure. This is why humans survive." And with that, humanity continued their watch, unseen, patient, and wise, proving that even when ignored and underestimated, humans were the true guardians of life in a universe that had almost forgotten how fragile it could be. Humanity leaves the Galactic Council. Now the universe is falling apart. Best HFY stories.